Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello and welcome back.
Thank you guys for joining us. Before we get going, just ask anybody that's new that hasn't subscribed to subscribe and click the bell so you get updates if you guys enjoy what we do.
Yes, please.
We see a meteor explodes over Vermont with a force of 440 pounds of TNT, and they say this was only the size of a bowling ball.
Wow, that's like a really small package and a big boom.
That's a good way to put it.
It is.
I like that. I've heard of some fighters described that way.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so a meteor streaked through the night sky over Vermont on Sunday, creating a spectacular light show and causing earth-shaking booms as it burned through the atmosphere. Its explosive passage through the atmosphere released the equivalent of 440 pounds of TNT, suggesting that the meteor was likely 10 pounds and 6 inches in diameter.
Wow, I wonder why it can be so compact yet put off such a huge boom, almost like it was designed to do that.
Interesting. Well, it's sped into the atmosphere at 42,000 miles per hour, according to NASA. And we could see locations where people saw it and what direction they said that it was traveling in. It's a beautiful area up there.
It really is gorgeous area.
Most definitely. And we see over here, we have a little bit of an update that the explosion literally caused tremors, like it was an earthquake. And that was so small. Can you imagine what something larger would do on the right trajectory with the right composition, too?
I know, that's just really mind-boggling.
The space rock hit the Earth's atmosphere where air resistance caused pressure to build up ahead of the asteroid at the same time as a vacuum was formed behind it. And the pressure difference caused it to violently explode with, again, that 440 pounds of TNT impact. The force was felt by those on the ground while the boom was also heard. Such a pressure wave can also couple into the ground, causing minor tremors that can be picked up by seismic instruments in the area. In addition to eyewitness reports, NASA said it detected the meteor's explosion using 3 infrasound stations positioned nearby, which help it calculate the explosive force. Really interesting, is it not? I mean, we've had an awful lot of stuff coming inbound.
Well, I know, but when I start seeing numbers like 33 miles high, I gotta get curious.
I know. Who picks these quote-unquote arbitrary numbers, A little numerology there.
Yep.
Taiwan president asked residents to prepare for water shortages as the island faces the worst drought in 56 years. Cloud seeding enforced. There you go. So, an island in the ocean and you have a drought.
How does that happen?
Well, how did the ice storm happen over here in Texas?
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's the same answer.
Yeah, it is.
Let's see. We're looking at Taiwan. Who wants Taiwan back in their possession?
Exactly.
Yeah. It's real. There's been enough declassified documents, and I've covered a list with like over 100 and something going back to the, I think, the 1890s. Some of the first patents on cloud seeding and things like that were pre-1900.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, they've been doing this for a very, very long time. If you look at the history, it's been going on.
Yeah, me personally, I tend to think that it has something to do with the fine dining ware country.
I think it does too.
Yep. So, yeah, it's most severe water shortage in 56 years. And, I just don't buy that some of these things are not artificially flavored.
I think today's vocabulary word should be like mind-boggling.
As we wait for AI to, catch a sense of humor.
You know, right? It will.
And so the president has called on residents to conserve water, prepare for shortages. And, there was typhoons that hit it too. Or, well, not that much last year, but in the previous years, we've had a lot. Actually, last year, it does seem, truthfully, that they either went north or south. The Philippines got hit pretty hard, and then down into Vietnam and that area. So, you just wonder. I guess it is possible. I would think it's possible to steer these things.
I think so. They've been doing it long enough, and I'm sure that, I don't know, they're probably 100 years ahead of us at least.
Yeah, so nationwide water restrictions, mobilized emergency water resources, including a desalination plant. And, I got to wonder, too, why don't we spend more money on things like desalination plants, greenhouses, working on, greening deserts, etc.
I know, things that would make things productive.
Geothermal. I mean, there's so many things we could do that are not going to poison the environment and that would help people so much. And now we do have cracks opening up over in Iceland. So, is the eruption soon to come? It certainly seems like it.
I don't know. It feels like it, though.
Well, with tens of thousands of quakes happening, and experts believe that there's a buildup going on, a large volume of magma is accumulating since about a year ago, causing the soil to lift by several centimeters. Yeah, it's coming. The question is, how big? How big? And so, you have a 5.7 and a 6, I think they mean 6.4, hitting the region within an hour. And again, it just depends. Is this going to be something big, like a VEI 7, that's going to help with the rapid cooling of the planet? We'll see.
We shall see.
And there was a dam breach following heavy rainfall in Maui over in Hawaii, as you could see. The flooding in some areas is just incredible. We were watching flooding of the Arkansas River last year. 2 years ago. 2 years ago in 2019. And it was massive. It was massive. It was in the Fort Smith area. And then we had seen flooding farther up in southern Missouri. And it was incredible as well. And then you wonder why there's some homes for sale very, very cheap in those areas.
I know, that's a little suspicious.
It is. But yes, we are getting wetter. Yes, we are getting colder. How about ice raining down in Florida? Daytona Beach getting a hailstorm here.
I've never heard of that.
Well, it could happen. This one person says, I moved south to get away from this. Who shovels and flip-flops?
I know. I'm surprised they have a shovel.
Yeah, I'm surprised too, especially because that's kind of a snow shovel instead of a utilitarian shovel.
I bet you because he moved from where there was snow, he's probably the only one on the block who has one.
Yeah, well, you see, the daughter, I guess, is visiting from New York. So, yeah, he's probably from New York, and he just took it just in case.
Just in case, yep.
And here you see hail on the beach in Daytona.
Oh, my gosh, that's so cold.
And we're in spring break time, too.
Extra cold.
Yeah, right? Ooh, yes. It's chilly to think about, being out there in your bathing suit and the hail coming down.
Right, because they don't wear a whole lot.
U.S. suffered coldest February since 1989. Avalanche deaths near all-time record. Antarctic sea ice now building at unprecedented rate. And somebody had brought up about, you don't have to worry about Antarctic ice because, here's what I'm trying to get at. If it's in the sea, if it's sea ice, yeah, we don't worry about it so much, because it's not going to cause a sea level rise if it melts or not. It displaces the same amount of water. But on top of Antarctica, the ice sheets that are on top of the land, if they slide in, then that's a totally different story.
So there is a certain point where things can disrupt, and we're getting to that point.
But we are seeing that building at an unprecedented rate, as you could, look at the graph right there.
Yeah, you can see that where it is building and going up. I know they change just a little bit every time.
Yes, they do. And over here we see up to 2 feet of March snowfall in upper reaches of Kashmir. Temperature drops 7 degrees Celsius below regular average temperatures. As many parts of the globe are getting absolutely buried. And meanwhile, we have mysterious dolphin and whale strandings reaching a record high in Ireland. So is this technology, or is this, what is it, some sort of algae bloom? Not too likely in these times, but, it's curious. It is curious. And we're watching the Gulf Stream and, watching that slow to a trickle, and that's going to really, really affect the UK.
I know. I'm looking at those thinking maybe canary in the coal mine. I don't know.
It definitely could be.
It could be.
Meanwhile, gas prices in LA County rise 47 times in 48 days.
That's concerning, especially when you got to drive as much as some of these people have to drive and commutes and stuff. That's bothersome.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, most definitely. There's certain things, this is what we're talking about, certain commodities are going up, up, up. Can you imagine, and some have said that, the U.S. could go almost the way of Venezuela. They're issuing million bolivar, that's how they term their dollar, so to speak, bill worth 50 cents. A million is worth 50 cents. As hyperinflation rages, that's incredible. The currency has lost 99.99% of its value. It's time to use it for TP.
I would think so. Yeah, definitely.
This is something to watch and take note of. So Tesla is secretly constructing mega battery storage facility for the Texas grid. As you see here, and now, of course, everybody's going to be working like crazy, and hopefully they'll have some heating mechanisms on the wind turbines as well, so they don't freeze in place. It's incredible what we have seen as far as the cooling, and, going back to, talking about the U.S. with the records, you have 6 states, Arkansas, Iowa, Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, and Oklahoma, that all had one of their 10 coldest Februaries ever recorded. And it has to do with the way the polar vortex is and pushing the jet stream. And, just because of the way the lay of the land, and as well as ocean currents, you get more dips coming straight through the center, and especially like when we get into a full-blown ice age, the ice, the glaciation, it comes all the way down. So, New England, totally under ice. And that's actually how Long Island formed, is when the glacier retreated. It caused Long Island Sound.
Mm-hmm. It does. So we got to keep an eye on that too.
So, these areas are going to get very, very, very cold. The Dakotas, Minnesota, Montana even. And then coincidentally, it's interesting because Alaska doesn't really get colder. And, like British Columbia and stuff, they should stay relatively ice-free from glaciation. But, of course, every time is a new time. And then we have the pole reversal underway as well. And many people believe in crustal displacement, where the entire crust shifts. And I've seen people throwing out numbers like 21 degrees. We'll see. Yeah. We'll see. But we have gotten from the guides that something along those lines is quite a ways out.
It is quite a ways. The actual natural Earth events that are not initiated.
Artificially flavored. Let's use that word.
Yeah, I like that word. Yeah, okay. That's true. Yeah, a lot of the things that are natural are way out there, but the artificial flavoring can kind of agitate things and make them happen sooner than they should.
Yes, and our consciousness can also push them back out farther.
It can. We just really need to be at peace and be in a happy place, and that's why they get like a lot of people angry in a small spot, because it causes problems.
And this is pretty wild. Some sea slugs grow new bodies after they were decapitated.
I really feel that we can probably do that too.
There's so much that's been hidden from us in the realm of possibility. And, there was like a comment today just showing how some people are so insulated that they never have gone out and tried to learn things on their own, so to speak. And so they have such a limited view of the world. And, if they didn't see it, on Facebook or, in some sort of mainstream, they just can't understand it. But more and more people are waking up. And that's one of the things we got to push the most is to wake people up en masse. Because it's when we get to a certain tipping point of numbers that we could really affect great change.
Well, our change is kind of really, it's dependent upon more and more people being awake. So it does behoove us to reach out to our family, friends, and plant those little seeds. Just plant the tiniest seed. It will grow, I promise.
Yeah, so some can actually regrow hearts as well as whole new bodies. It's really interesting. We see, lizards lose their tail and regrow their tail.
They do. That's always kind of fun when you're a kid and you catch a lizard and, you got a tail.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, pretty sad what they're doing there. but yeah, it's really fascinating. One of the three, so they basically, I'll go over this here. So the doctoral student and Nara Women's University aquatic ecology professor Yoichi Yusa tried it themselves, cutting the heads off 16 sea slugs. 6 of the creatures started regeneration, with 3 succeeding and surviving. 1 of the 3 even lost and regrew its body twice.
That's an incredible slug.
2 different types of Japanese sea slugs did this regeneration trick. Pretty wild to think of. And of course, we have the reptilian stem in our brain, the reptilian side of our brain, and we know stem cells are key to so much.
They are, and I'm just looking at these slugs here thinking, I really hope somebody gets a good retirement package, because that's a lot of work for scientists.
Chopping heads off slugs?
Well, not the scientists, but the slugs to have to grow the body back.
Yes. Well, thankfully, they're not doing anything to the scientists and saying, okay, go ahead, fix yourself now. But, it just brings into possibility the question of what is possible. I think it's way more than people would conceive of. I think people would be blown away if they knew just how much we are capable of.
I think that's where it is. The sky's the limit when we think of things, that's fathomable. Because thoughts are actual things. You pick them up from somewhere. So that means it's out there.
Yeah, we had a contact from one of the people we worked on, a few months back, and something was going on with her hands.
Oh, yeah.
And she said, oh, by the way, after you worked on me, it went away. And, here we are, more than 1,000 miles apart. Doesn't matter.
Oh, no, it doesn't matter at all. And it was 5 weeks later. See, most people have the energy work, and then they kind of forget that they've had the energy work, and they have major changes happen, but they've forgotten. But I've noticed more and more people are emailing or texting back saying, hey, wow, this has been resolved, which is really wonderful.
Especially in one sitting.
Yeah, in one sitting with just one session. That's the thing. It doesn't take like a whole string of 50. I would say the ones that do take longer are when there might be some PTSD involved or something like that.
Well, with doing energy work for such a long time, so many years, I think the difference is in the fact that we're changing. Yeah. Things are speeding up, and our capabilities are going through the roof. And I think that's another reason. That's one of the major reasons why we're seeing everything going on right now, the way it is going on. And because, the masses would have the ability to heal themselves with thought. And that's the future, just with thought, just with consciousness, just with meditation and just like practices like Qigong, just knowingly taking in the life force, visualizing something, and boom, it's gone. The pain's gone, the problem's gone. Think about that, how that would revolutionize this world. But that's where we're heading, and they know it, so that's why they're scrambling.
Well, they are. It does take some time to do the meditation, do the mantras, to build the energy to get this done. But the thing is it's happening more and more.
And it's happening quicker and quicker.
Yes, absolutely.
So thanks, guys, for being part of the family. Again, make sure you are subscribed and have the bell clicked. Thanks for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon. And if you guys need to make an appointment with us, it's EEARTS at Proton Mail or evolutionaryenergyarts@gmail.com. And we are on the road, so it might take us a day or two to get back to you, because we'll be traveling around some places without signal. But we will get back to you.
Yes, we will.
As always, guys, God bless and namaste.
Namaste.